Om Yogis, and welcome to our practice today with the bat. We're going to be looking at cycles, and this practice is going to be very lunar, very cooling, very contemplative. So let's start sitting in a comfortable seat. Close your eyes. Blind as a bat. And just come into the cycle of your natural breathing, the cycle of your own breath, as it is. On your next inhale, create some length through your spine, all the way to the top of your head. And as you exhale, hold this length, but exhale right down into your seat, releasing any unnecessary gripping in your hips. Now just allow your awareness to fall into your exhale and start to follow the exhale all the way to end point. There'll be a slight contraction of the lower belly as you do this, helping you to push out a little more air than you might usually do. Inhale naturally and allow your exhale to become a little longer than your inhalation. When we emphasize the exhale, it takes us into a quiet place inside of ourselves. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and relax response. It brings us down into our roots, very grounding breath too. And when things get a bit too quick, a bit too fast, a bit too external, we can end up kind of going up and out of the top of our heads. So keep emphasizing the exhale, grounding down as you do this, feeling yourself arrive in your practice. And as you sit here now, as you sit here breathing in meditation, just take your first two fingers of your right hand into your palm. We're going to use the thumb to cover your right nostril and use your third finger to cover your left nostril as we work with Chandra Badana, moon breath, moon purification. We're going to cover the right nostril with the thumb, inhale through the left nostril, and then cover your left nostril, exhale through your right nostril. Swap with your hand, so you inhale again through your left nostril. Cover left nostril, open right nostril, exhale. Cover right nostril, open left nostril, inhale. So the cycle is you inhaling through your left nostril, exhaling through your right nostril. Inhaling left nostril, exhaling right nostril. This breath is said to take us into our lunar self, our introspective self. It cools and quiets and calms the mind. Inhaling left nostril, exhaling right nostril. And our whole practice today is trying to take us to this cool, calm, lunar place inside of ourselves. Do one more cycle here of that, inhaling left and exhaling right. And then just drop your arms down and come back to your regular breathing cycle. Just notice the shift in your state. That shift from the external world to the internal world of self. You've been at this sort of 5 minutes. Just see the shift that can be created in a very short amount of time. Beautiful. And then bring yourself to a wall space and bring your legs up the wall. So your whole back is supported by the floor and your legs are just resting against the wall. For Viparita Karani. You can use a strap if you have one and just place a strap around your legs just to keep them in place. This pose is extremely relaxing. Really, you can feel the whole back spreading here. As all of the blood starts to pour back into the body. This upside down bat position. If you'd like to visualize, you can imagine yourself the bat now, hanging upside down. This hanging upside down is symbolic of the sacrifice of the old self to transform into a new and more evolved, mature, responsive, aware self and state of being. You see this a lot in hanging upside down in kind of like Egyptian mythology. It's sort of symbolic of seeing things in a different light and a whole new perspective. This upside down pose suggests re-evaluation and contemplation and a suspension of action. Just feel yourself now just suspended in this pose, suspended in your internal space, with your eyes closed. Just take a moment or two with yourself, with your breath, with the sensations of the body, and let yourself drop in, away from the outer and dropping in deeper to the inner worlds of the self. Just try to let go of any unnecessary gripping in the body. And if your mind is pulling you into other things, it's okay. It's very natural. Just say to your mind, come back, not that way, come this way. And pull your mind back into the pose, into the sensations, into the breath. Whatever is happening for you in your life right now, the bat magic, it teaches us to bless the transformations rather than fear the change. To bless the cycles that we are constantly in. So wherever you're at today, bless it. Every difficulty, bless it. Every blessing, bless it. Bless every sensation, bless every breath. And if there's anything that is apparent that is not serving you right now, this is a perfect opportunity to let that go. As you exhale, just let that fall behind you. Let it be in the past. Inhale here, you guys. And as you exhale, just slowly bring yourself down, away from the wall as best you can. There's no graceful way to do this, but once you're back, your legs are back on the ground, just prop yourself up against the wall and just sit for a moment. And just feel like all of your internal organs adjust to gravity. Allow yourself to adjust. Just feel that cycle of being upside down and being upright. Bless the changes. Bless the sensations. Feel yourself skillfully moving between one state of inversion and the other state of uprightness with ease and grace. It's moving through that transition. It's a small example of how we can learn through our practice for the bigger things. And then come back to your mat. Come onto all fours. You can pad your knees if you've got tender knees. And just walk your hands a little forward for a cat stretch here. So your hips stay over your knees. Your hands walk forward and just allow your heart to melt to a comfortable stretch. You're melting your heart to meet wherever you happen to be right now, within your own life cycle. Let your heart meet it. Let your breath meet that. Just allowing yourself through this contemplative practice to really feel the fullness of your stretching, the fullness of sensation in the body and breath. Releasing the hinge of the jaw. Releasing any unnecessary habitual gripping in your body, let it go. And then gently push back to child's pose. In child's pose, your forehead is to the mat or maybe to a block, or maybe you can like one potato, two potato, your hands, the rest of your head. Just feel the front portion of your brain, letting everything fall forward. Letting all the thoughts, all the tension in the mind just spill out and down into the ground. Just feel that cycle of when you were on your back, we said just release what you don't need behind you, it's in the past, and now in this position we're just releasing what we don't need ahead of us. Ironically from the head. Just seeing that ability that we have to take two different positions but stay in this neutrality. Mastering the cycle. Let's come back into that cat stretch when you're ready. And before you come back, come to all fours and just extend your right leg out to the right. And take a cat stretch here. Just exploring this new position. It's this feminine mastery of moving through lots of different positions on things but remaining neutral. This lunar self remains neutral, quiet, just taking it all in. Exploring the pose, just get the best out of this, the fullest sense of the self. And we can add on to this by doing like a thread the needle twist. So taking the left hand and sort of twisting in this position. You can even bind the ankle with the left hand if you can reach. Just letting the body stretch out. Exploring this strange inversion. The hips are higher than the heart. And the heart is higher than the head. Inhale here. And exhale, unravel yourself. Come back to center. And then take the left foot out to the left. And explore this same stretch. So it's going towards a cat stretch here with the left leg extended. Explore it on the other side. Explore the two sides of the self. And you can add on to this by doing that thread the needle. So taking your left leg is out, so it would be your right arm under your left for a twist. You can bind the twist here if that's available. Inhale here. Exhale, slowly unravel yourself. Come back to center. And press back, child's pose. Just in these short little spaces of time, so this is about 20 minutes. We can take these little short intervals in our life just to kind of pull ourselves back to center. Suspend activity. Suspend action. Coming back to our lunar self. We're looking at cycles, we're looking at the lunar self, and a more kind of introspective practice today. Let's come from the floor, let's take downward facing dog. This is the more active section of today's practice, but even though it's active, we're going to keep it relatively slow and steady so we can really drop deeper into the self, into that feminine aspect of the self. Whether you are a man or a woman, we all have both aspects. So stretching out in downward facing dog here. Bend one knee and then the other, and just feel the body. Root into the hands and the feet evenly. And then walk your hands back to meet your feet. Come into a forward fold. The feet are hip width apart. And you can allow this fold to move. You can bend one knee and then the other. You could interlace your fingers behind your back. Just allow yourself to kind of enter in through whatever movement it is that you choose to do or not. Keep the breath steady and deep. Enter into the breath. If you know it, you can take Ujjayi breath for this practice today. Then come to stillness within that fold. At the hinge of the jaw, relax. And bend your knees and slowly roll up through your spine to stand. Your shoulders and head come up last. We're coming to the front of the mat for some moon salutations here. Inhaling, raising the arms up. Exhaling, fold through. Inhale, lengthen the spine halfway. Exhale, fold on in. Inhale, come all the way up to stand. Exhale, release the arms. Let's take an inhalation in chair pose. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold in. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, come to stand. Bring your right foot up into tree pose here. Keeping your breath rhythmical and steady, keeping your eyes soft. You can play around with closing the eyes, finding that internal center, feeling the feet root, feeling all of the symmetry and asymmetry of the body, feeling your left foot and ankle working hard through this balance. With your right foot raised, it's optional to bring your right hand to your right thigh and just start to lean your tree to your right side. Just taking a little bit of a lateral stretch through the left side of the body. And then inhale, come back to center. Stay up if you can. Keep the foot raised. And just come out of tree so the knee is lifted in front of you. And use your breath to support you on a slow exhale. Bring that right foot back into a crescent lunge or high lunge. Make sure your feet are hip distance apart to support your balance here. Beautiful. And from here you can use your hands to support you, so you can take your hands to the floor if there's anything going on in your knees today. Or if your knees feel good, you can just lower yourself straight down to a low lunge. Your back knee is down now. Crescent moon, the arms stretch, the front body opens. Let's push the hips back for a hamstring stretch here, Ardha Hanuman. Your left foot is forward, you're squaring off at your hips, just stretching through the left hamstring. Squaring off the shoulders and hips as best you can. Your breath is rhythmical and deep. Your awareness is deep inside the body. And from here, walk your fingers forward, come out of that. Set up your feet for warrior two. The left foot is leading. And in your own time, rise up, warrior two. Just exploring the pose here. And then taking that pose into reverse warrior. And then then shifting forward, come into side angle pose. So you can have your forearm on your left leg, your left forearm on your left leg, and you're reaching up towards the ceiling. Or you can bring your left arm to the ground and extend that right arm all the way up, in line with your ear, up and over. Stretching, breathing, strengthening through the legs, pressing into the outer edge of your right foot. So you feel this stretch moving all the way through right side of body into right fingertips. And windmill your arms down to the ground and just walk yourself into a wide-legged fold. Exploring the shape, exploring the pose, exploring the breath and the sensation. So your yoga practice becomes this internal experience which is based in relationship with self. Your wide-legged fold can be whatever it needs to be. You can bind the toes, you can interlace the hands behind the back. We will do this a few more times, so don't rush anything. Let yourself be easy. When you're ready, hands come to hips. And as you inhale, strengthen through the legs, come on up slowly. Set up your feet for Trikonasana triangle. Your left foot is forward. And just coming into the pose, remind yourself that you have so much time, there's no need to rush or strain. Let yourself enjoy this movement. Let this practice be a nourishment and never a punishment. And from Trikonasana, we'll come into half moon balance, Ardha Chandrasana. So your left hand comes to the floor, your right leg comes off of the ground. We flex through the right foot and strengthen through the right leg to aid the balance. Opening up through the front of the body, opening top shoulder, top hip. The breath is rhythmical and deep and steady. And then from Ardha Chandrasana, we're just going to come up to stand, squaring off the hips as we go. It's a bit of a strange one, but you'll find your own way with it. Coming to stand at the top of your mat. Let's do that again on the second side. So inhale, your arms come up. Exhale, fold through. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold on in. Inhale all the way up to stand. Exhale, release the arms. Let's inhale, chair pose. And exhale, fold. Inhale and lengthen. And exhale, fold. Inhale, back to chair pose. Exhale, come to stand. Let's come into tree here with the left foot now raised. Just exploring the feeling of your foot, your right foot, exploring the ground. Your sit bones get closer together as your hips widen here. And square off as much as you can through your shoulders. Open up through your chest. And you have the option of bringing your left hand to left thigh, just stretching over to the left, so there's a big stretch along the right side of body here. You have the option to close your eyes. You may not have the option as to whether the balance is there for you today, or you may be falling out and coming back in. But you do have the choice to embrace this. The wholeness of your practice includes the times where we can do, but also equally the times where we cannot. Through that, it becomes a practice of extreme self-love. It's coming back to center, if you're not already there. Bringing your left knee in front of you, keeping that foot raised, and on a slow exhale, coming gently back to high lunge or crescent pose. Squaring off the hips. Breath is deep and rhythmical. And from here we come down into low lunge. You can bring the fingertips to the floor to support this, or come straight down. Crescent moon. And then press your hips back. Ardha Hanuman, hamstring stretch. Release the hinge of your jaw. Release any unnecessary tension. And then it's like we push out of this and sort of come back into a high lunge position to set up for Warrior Two. And just flow straight on into Warrior Two. Just find it in whatever way works. Your right foot is leading this. And these practices go on the assumption that we've all done these poses many times before. And this is your chance to explore this for what it is today for you. From Warrior Two, we shift into Reverse Warrior. Letting the breath feed the pose. And from Reverse Warrior, we come into extended side angle. You can have your forearm to your thigh and just stretch your top arm up towards the ceiling. If you want a little more, the hand can come down to the ground and the top arm can come towards the front of your mat, stretching across your top ear, out into infinity. From here, in whatever way works, just walk your fingers to the long edge of your mat for a wide-legged fold. Exploring what is working for you today. Sending deep, full breath into your practice. Bringing your hands to your hips when you're ready. On a slow inhale, be strong through the legs, come up nice and slowly. And then set yourself up for Trikonasana with your right foot forward. Your heels line up. And once you find the pose, you open up through your top side. Would be your left side, I think. Yeah. You can bring your left hand to your hip. Just look down to your mat. Take your hand on a diagonal and come into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon balance from here. Flexing through that top foot, imagining that you're pushing an invisible wall away from you with that top foot to stabilize the pose. Opening up top shoulder. Reaching through all of the limbs. And flooding that extra space with a deeper breath. On your next inhale, just coming to stand from here. Just square off your hips first and come to stand at the top of your mat. Let's do another cycle of this a little faster. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, fold through. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come to stand. Exhale, release your hands. Maybe not so fast after all. Let's inhale, come into chair pose. Exhale, fold. That feminine energy is never really in a rush. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come back to chair. Exhale, standing at the top of your mat. Lift your right leg up for tree. This time, let's take the arms above the head and stretch up. As you exhale, keep your leg up, but bring your right knee forward in front of you. Inhaling here, and on a slow exhale, come back into high lunge here. Crescent pose. Inhale here, and as you exhale, drop it back into low lunge. Back knee comes down to the ground. And then shift your hips back for a hamstring stretch, Ardha Hanuman. Come back into high lunge position. With the fingertips on the floor, set your feet up for warrior two, and then windmill yourself to stand. Your left foot is leading. Come into reverse warrior from here. And then from reverse warrior, extended side angle pose. Walking the hands to the long edge of your mat for a wide-legged forward fold. Inhale halfway. Exhale, fold in. Your hands come to your hips, On your next inhale, rise slowly up to stand. Shifting your feet for Trikonasana. Coming into the pose when you're ready. Your left foot is forward. Right and left arms stretch away from one another. And then bring your top arm to your hip. Look down. Come into half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. And then come into standing position from here. In whatever way works for your body. From a standing position, your next inhale lifts your arms to the sky. And as you exhale, fold on in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come to stand. Exhale, release your arms. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, fold on in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale, chair pose. Exhale, come to stand. Pick up your left foot, come into tree. Stretching the arms up. The repetition of this practice brings us ease as we become more friendly with the cycles of movement. Keeping that foot up, bringing the knee in front of you, squaring your hips. A long exhale takes you back into high lunge, crescent pose. Inhale here, exhale, low lunge, crescent moon, back knee is down. The hips come back for a hamstring stretch here. Ardha Hanuman. And then sort of come back into a high lunge with the back knee raised. Set up your feet for Warrior Two and then windmill yourself to stand in Warrior Two here. Your right foot is leading the pose. I hope. Unless I've got it wrong. Come into Reverse Warrior. And then from here, extended side angle. I'm visualizing this in my mind. There's no muscle memory going on for me, which is a real challenge. But you guys can enjoy the muscle memory going on now in your body because you've done this physically. You are embodying the learning. It's windmill the arms down to long edge of mat. Come into a wide leg forward fold. And this is the thing about this lunar energy, that it is about embodying learning. It's not mental plane stuff. We don't try too hard, we just trust that all is coming. Bring your hands to your hips. Inhale, come up slowly on an inhale. I said that. And your right foot is forward for Trikonasana here. Come into triangle. And then from here, shifting into half moon balance. In whatever way works, come up slowly to stand from here. And from your standing position, I was just contemplating whether to do that cycle again, but I don't think we've got time. So from that standing position, let's come to seated. Sit down with your legs crossed for a second. And just come into a nice, easy forward fold with your legs crossed. Embracing the cycle of breath, the cycle of movement. Or whatever cycles come into your mind right now, embrace them. And then come on up, switch the cross of your legs and fold over your legs again in a forward fold. And if there's any kind of negativity, any kind of self-judgment going on, let's just drop that. Let's reevaluate that thought process. Let's come into something a little more natural, a little more healthy. Come into the breath. Inhale here, exhale, come out of that. And that's you finish this section of the practice today. Our slow moon salutations. This celebration really of the inner journey, the ability to meet the self within all cycles. Wherever we happen to be, we meet ourselves there. Let's start by taking 2 blocks and come into a low-level supported fish. So go a little lower than you usually would. We have 1 block behind the shoulders and 1 block behind the head. If you put both blocks on the low level, or the block under the shoulders on the lower level and the next one a little higher, the one behind your head a little higher, just to come in, just to feel how you're feeling. Part of this practice today, working with this lunar energy, this feminine energy, is to suspend the activity, to suspend action for a little while. So do less. Do less than you usually would. It's a practice and a discipline in itself for some of us, to do less without frustration or impatience. You're lying here in supported fish. Your legs can be in whatever position works for you, and you can also experiment with your arms a little bit. If you want to cactus your arms ever so gently and feel that stretch in the shoulders, it might be nice. Or maybe just have them by your sides. Just come into the cycle of your breath. And allow yourself to orientate to this position. Let go. Relax. Release the hinge of your jaw. close your eyes. Begin to see you internally. So you're seeing yourself with your eyes closed. You're tapping into your more subtle senses here. When you're able to see in the darkness over the self, to feel through the sensation. It's a bit like sort of how bats can know where they are in space through sound, bouncing around. We know where we are in space through sensation and through breath. And through all of that, we become aware that the inner space is enormous, unfathomable, really. A universe inside of us. So through the inner eye, we look into the vastness of our own space. Into that darkness. And darkness is that feminine energy that holds all things. This beautiful space of peace and rest and patience. Inhale here, you guys. As exhale, just roll off of the blocks. Bring your knees to your chest and just rock a little side to side. Just massage out your hips. Now bring your right knee in for a stretch here. Keep your left leg straight along the ground. And when you're ready, just twist your right knee over to the left for a supine twist here. Just taking a few breaths here. Closing the eyes, just feeling the inner space, how it changes. Flood that inner space with breath. Inhale here, exhale, slowly bring yourself back to center. And this time bring your left knee in, your right leg is straight. And we're going to twist the left knee over to the right. The same twist on the other side. Release the hinge of your jaw, release any unnecessary gripping. Just let this practice, this section of the practice, be about releasing, relaxing, letting go. It's feminine, lunar qualities. Inhaling and exhaling back to center. Let's bring a strap around your right foot and just stretch that right foot up. And then over to the right. With the eyes closed, feel the inner space. Read yourself through sensation. We're tapping into the feeling sense here. Coming back up with the leg. When you're ready, use your tummy to support you. And then over to the left. So it's coming across the body. that feeling sense, is meant to be internal, I think anyway. I always thought my feeling sense was about touch, how that feels. When I touch an orange, how does that feel, as opposed to when I touch a flower? And I guess it is about that, but more so for me, it's about this learning to feel my own internal self. Bring the leg back to center, you guys. Slowly does it. And then stretch it up. Very briefly, and then swap over. The strap comes around the left foot, and we just take a very quick stretch. Very brief stretch. There's no quickness here, hopefully. Not too much anyway. Over to the left with the leg. Open up the hips. Going into that inner universe, into that inner space, and reading the self-through sensation. It's like this bat magic of how do I see in the dark. After a while, this becomes absorbing. It draws us into center, into self, and so becomes strengthening also. Bring that leg back to center when you're ready. And as you exhale, take it over to the right. And we can balance out the activity and the action in our lives with these times of suspension, absorption, introspection. Allowing ourselves to feel our internal body. Come back to center. And then stretch the leg up towards the face. Release the strap. And roll to your tummy, you guys. Take your arms into a wide T shape. And we're just going to roll to the left, just stretching out that left shoulder. You might want to take a block underneath your head here to support you, to support your neck. You might want to add on to this by placing your feet on the floor, bending your knees, and taking your other hand behind you too, which would be your right hand. No? Yes, your right hand. And maybe find a bind here. But if you go into that internal space, as soon as you feel sensation, that is enough. And the beautiful thing about practicing with our eyes closed is we don't know how it looks. So there is no aspirations of getting it to look a certain way. We want to learn how to read the feelings. Through reading the feelings, we come into relationship with the self. We come into this intense, beautiful, strong, lunar sense of self-love that is all arising from within. Let's slowly roll ourselves out of that. And set ourselves up for the same pose on the other side. So we're rolling to the right. And we can take the feet to the floor, bend the knees, and bring the hands behind you, the other hand behind you too. Interlace the fingers perhaps. if this is appropriate or not. The first version of this is, it's intense enough. Some days do that. Maybe think about that challenge to do less here. Inhale here, let's exhale, slowly roll out of this. And then bring yourself up to kneeling. If your knees are tender, kneel onto a block. Sit onto a block. So if you can bring your feet either side of your hips, your toes point behind you. If this means sitting on a block or two, then do that. If you have a bolster, you can place the bolster behind you. And if it's appropriate for the position that you're in, you'll know if it is. You might want to lean back over a bolster. You can lie back over it, or you can stay sitting. If you're up on blocks, it's probably best to stay sitting. You can bring your palms to your legs, facing up if you'd like to receive more energy, facing down if you would like to ground here. You can lie back over a bolster and completely let go. Closing the eyes, traveling yourself into inner space, into that darkness. Beautiful darkness. I'm going to be quiet for the next couple of minutes so that you can be alone with your thoughts and your feelings. But I'm still here. I will be back. Just inhale here, you guys. Exhale. It's bringing yourself back on up in whatever way works. And we can come into double pigeon or fire log here, or Sukhasana, easy pose, cross-legged. So you're bringing your left leg over your right. If you're in fire log, it's like ankle to opposite knee position. If not, you're just crossing your legs so your left leg is on top. And you can bring that bolster in front of you, either cross-legged or in fire log, and just lean forward if this works, and maybe just drop into the comfort of that bolster. Letting yourself release and relax here. Just reassuring yourself that this is exactly where you need to be within your cycle right now, within whatever process is happening right now. There is a place for this practice. There is a place for you within those largest cycles. And you can take this into a twist now by taking your hands into prayer and bringing your left elbow either towards your left foot or just towards your left knee. If you're in Sukhasana, if you're in just cross-legged, it would just probably just fall into sort of the middle of your legs here. But we're still leaning forward. Just enjoying that twist. Close your eyes. To that deep, introspective, internal space. Beautiful darkness. Inhale here, you guys. Exhale. Gently come out of that. Coming back to center, and now switch the cross of your legs. So your right leg is coming above your left leg, or forward of your left leg if you're in cross-legged pose. Use your bolster and just gently lean forward, closing your eyes. Moving into introspection. That beautiful suspension of action. It's optional to take this into a twist. If you're twisting, the hands come into prayer, and it's your right elbow that moves towards your... Let me work it out. Your right foot's on top. So your right elbow is moving towards your right foot. Yeah, your right foot. You're already there. You're still leaning forward. As you twist, relax your face, relax your head. Let's bless the transformations here rather than fear the change. Bless the state of being that you are in as part of a cycle, a natural cycle. Inhale here, exhale, slowly release that. Straighten out your legs. And you can fold forward now over that bolster, so you can bring that bolster onto your legs and just relax forward. Falling into your inner space, closing your eyes, falling into the cycles of your breath, falling into your feeling sense. Spat magic is so goddess, it's so feminine, it's so lunar. And we can embrace that whether we are a man or a woman. Inhale here. Exhale, release that. And bring your feet together for Baddha Konasana. So your knees go wide and your feet come together. And you can use your bolster now again behind you and lie back over it. Or you can lie back flat to the floor if your body will allow this. Or you can just sit in Baddha Konasana, sit upright. We're going to come back to Chandra Badana, moon purification breath. But without our hands this time, we're just going to do this sort of through our consciousness. Inhaling through your left nostril, exhaling through your right nostril. Just stay with this focus, inhaling through the left nostril and exhaling through the right nostril. Just using this breath just to come a little bit closer to that beautiful moon energy, that cooling, calming, contemplative, re-evaluating, patient, spacious energy. Just feeling the cycle of your breath inside that vastness of your inner space. If your eyes are closed and you can see with your mind's the vastness of your inner realms. And you can watch the breath within this. Your breath creates this visual picture of the moon inside of yourself. Inhaling left, exhaling right, we're circling the breath. Pulling the moon inside of ourselves. And from here, just release that breath. Release your legs, so use your hands to bring your legs up a little and just take them out of Baddha Konasana. And lie down now in Shavasana. Corpse pose is also part of this bat magic, is the transformations of the cycles. The bat teaches us to bless the cycles rather than fear the change. And Shavasana is a beautiful illustration of the need for surrender, the need for this death and dying process. How this is a relief, this is a kindness. And we all know that when we finish our practice, we just go, oh yeah, Shavasana. That cycle is complete, that cycle of practice is complete, and we are able to let go. Allow yourself to let go here. Watch the cycle of your natural breath now. Use your exhalation, as you did in the beginning of this practice, to drop you into relaxation. Let the body heavy. The Mayan culture talks about the house of the bat. The house of the bat is a place to be crossed before reaching the land of death. We could say that this entire practice has been our house of the bat. This entire practice has been a way to reach the end or completion of this cycle. And now we come to Shavasana, the land of death. Let go. Release even the desire to contemplate anything. Let go. Let it all go. Take as much time as you like here, you guys. So much love. Namaste.